the scholarship banquet through the whole 10 weeks that they've been raising, it ended up being around the 350,000 that was raised, which is a lot of money. And I know that my uncle will wisely invest that money so that it can really be a huge asset to all the students. And it was directly for scholarships, so it's not for general fund or anything, for student scholarships. So I'm excited to have that done. And that it was a big success. So anyway, if you haven't submitted your email, you don't. Printing can be a costly thing because it is color, and it is more challenging to get access to a color printer. Computer Lab has access, as well as from your music resource lab, you can print to the color printer out here. Now I think it's 7 cents instead of 4, but that's not too bad.
I need those 3
pennies. You need those 2 pennies. Okay.
School bill will be paid.
Yeah. So we'll remember.
Quarters, always quarters.
We'll remember Allison. Anything new for your folks?
Dad had his last therapy session that insurance will pay for last Tuesday.
Okay.
So I'm just hoping that he and Mom can keep working at it on their own, and that will go smoothly, that they'll have time to do things, that it'll work out. So.
Well, I had Lyme disease and then knee surgery. They thought I had something wrong with my knee. Good news, I didn't have anything wrong with my knee. But they're like, okay, I have student insurance, and they're not going to cover therapy day after the surgery. So I was like, can you give me the exercises I'm supposed to do? They're like, well, I'm not sure you'll be able to do them. I said, you don't know me very well. I'll do the exercises on my own and do the therapy. So I did my 30 rotations of all these things all by myself, made myself cry all by myself. And you have to have a unique personality to do that, though. Yeah. I don't mind bossing myself around.
If he hadn't gotten to the point where he was walking with his walker, that would be really hard to do, because that sort of a thing you can't really do. The parallel bars and everything. We don't have that. But hopefully now he's to the point. Stairs will be a little hard. He did start doing stairs. And his therapist thinks, like, she told Mom that she thinks by Christmas he could probably make it up the stairs to Granny's house, which would be really nice. But just hopefully that he can continue to make good progress and gain strength. And then in January, the good news is there doesn't need to be another event for him to start therapy again in January once insurance recycles. So,
I see.
Because sometimes they won't let you start again without some other event happening, which would be hard to figure that out. So fortunately, he can start again. So hopefully he'll be able to continue gaining strength, and then can work really hard for a couple months starting in January.
Good. Well, let's pray. Dear Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the answered prayer. And we rejoice, and we know that you are the one that works in hearts to give, and I thank you for each one, for you bless each giver generously. I pray that you would help the monies to be a great blessing to the students who receive them. Lord, all of these things that we've been given, help us to be good stewards of those. Lord, we ask that you give us wisdom. Lord, we need you, we need your strength. We can give Allison as she recovers from this injury. Lord, I know that you are the great healer. We ask that you would just give healing to Allison, that she may be able to return to full use of her knee, and that you would just be with her as she is in the waiting time. And I think of Emma's family too. Lord, you see, you know the needs that we have, and we ask that you would help us to honor you in our response to the circumstance you give to us. We thank you for this day and the class that we have to spend together recreating and amen. Okay, so here's some lovely piano studio brochures. Marianne submitted hers. A clever title is fine. You don't have to have that. You know, it really defines for sure which teacher you are. If you say Sarah Therese Piano Studio, it's pretty straightforward. But at the same time, in my community, there were a lot of teachers that had their name as a studio. I wanted my title to kind of say something about the way I was going to teach, so I called it Discovery Piano Studio. So now I'm a little bit removed from that. Would I choose that again? Might be easier to just go with the Nicholson Music Studios. That way, if my husband wanted to teach or I wanted to teach, we're ready to go. But that was another season. Yes, Anna.
I was I wanted to call it Prelude Piano Studio because I thought that would be cute, especially since I'd probably be primarily teaching, you know, younger students and beginner students, like Prelude, like starting music. But I Googled it and there are a lot of Prelude Piano Studios. And the only Sonata Piano Studio I could find was in Ontario, Canada, so I figured I was okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's something to tinker around with, is to type in the Gmail what's out there already.
You got to consider email address and website nowadays too, like if the domain is taken.
Yeah, discoverypianostudio.com I got at that time. That was a long time ago. That was one of the factors I decided, because I taught for musical impressions. I had a cadence. I had a lot of ideas, but Discovery was available, and so I went that route. So that's not really marketing is something that you need to consider, but it's a part of a bigger whole. Okay, and what is helpful though is a tangible. For me, I still like paper. I do a lot of things online, but I still do like handling paper. So if I had, let's say you have a business card, if all of your parents in your studio, you give them, let's say 10 business cards, that if they ever asked, they have them on hand. And then when I go to make the phone calls, I look in my wallet. I knew they gave me something. I can have that as a reference. It's your first connection with them. So something to at least consider and think about. We talked about a lot of stuff the other day, but we're going to jump into the older beginner. How is your reading going, by the way, of your book, for the book report? So little by little, making progress. I am a big proponent, advocate for a turtle progress. That I just try and chip away at things. This Faith Music Academy proposal, I've been chipping away at it. It is not a project you can do in like 3 hours. There's a lot of moving pieces. So I just try and make some progress every week. Sometimes it's slow. Like all I did was send off one email. But it's something. Some forward motion. Stagnant is bad. Read 2 pages. Is it easier, the laws of motion, to keep things moving or to make it start moving? Okay. So, highly encourage you to do. All right. The older beginner. Okay. All right. So hopefully, I mentioned to you we were going to talk about this. I wanted you to think about your own experience. I'm taking a parenting teenagers course in Sunday school. Pastor Jason Blunt is teaching, as well as Mr. Lynn Nyhart, who is our volleyball coach. It's a wonderful class. He told us to reflect back on when we were teens, what we were like. Often the things that we're removed from, we tend to not relate to very well. I try to remember college life and the pressures that I had. I remember I had knee surgery August 28th. School started that week. I remember how much it hurt to go around campus at Bob Jones. It was pitiful. I finally said, honey, push me around in a wheelchair. I can't take it anymore. It was really humbling. My first impression of meeting all these people, and I'm sitting in a wheelchair or I'm on crutches, huffing and puffing because I've gone half a mile across. Because you know Bob Jones, it's big. I was like fully on lunch. I'm just gonna sit right here and have an apple. So it was really hard. It was really frustrating. But I learned a lot of valuable things from that experience. So, and you get to really get a read on people, and you can see how compassionate they are. Dr. Renfro's heart just opened to me because he thought I was an invalid in a wheelchair. So I go, actually, this is the first time in my life I've ever been in one. He thought he was getting himself into a paralyzed student. I did get one. But not until they didn't discover what was going on until the middle of the semester. Then I started 6 weeks of IV antibiotics. Then I was better like mid-October. It felt pretty good. But it was a really tough semester. Anywho, the older beginner, traits of them. So what were you like, really briefly, in one word, describe what you were like when you were pre-adolescent, pre-teen, to use that term. But adolescence is a better term because it's a human growth and development term. You're weird, okay? Awkward. It's hard for me to imagine Sarah going through an awkward phase, but.
Well, thank you, because I still feel like I'm there sometimes.
Is that awkward when you have braces as well?
I got braces and glasses like in the same day. Oh man.
That's tough. That's really tough.
I was really shy and like dependent on others. So like, if my friends didn't do stuff, I didn't want to either. I was really shy.
So identity.
I really don't remember much about that stage at all. I'm splunked out. I was probably just a homeschooler who ran around with her siblings and wrote stories on her computer.
So you liked writing.
Fun stories.
So were you more extroverted or introverted?
No, I've always been introverted.
Okay.
Like I still talk to people.
Sure.
I still play sports and stuff.
So me as a 13-year-old, I've always loved learning in a social way. And at that time, my parents chose to homeschool me. So for me, I was like looking for outlets. So I was like, let's invite everyone over from youth group tonight. And okay, I'm having a party for this reason. Like I was always trying to find ways to get people into our home or our world. So I was competitive. I need goals for myself. I'm highly motivated by tasks. I like lists. I want to see what I've done and all that stuff. So it was a very, I wanted a teacher that would put me in competitions. I know that every kid is like that, but I wanted, I don't know if it was part of it was being homeschooled, you weren't getting opportunities for that, but I wanted competition. That was kind of unique too. They're often slow to warm up. Would you agree with that? Are you super confident usually in those ages for a variety of reasons? Allison can't remember.
I just remember being 13, and that's when we started going to our church. As I randomly walked up to this random family in Culver who was like, "Hi, I'm Allison. Are you homeschooled?" And they were like, "Yes." "Are you?" And we were like, "Yes." So we became best friends. Like, I don't know. That's a random spontaneous thing.
Okay, I wasn't going to say anything.
That's really cute though.
It is cute. It is friendly. My 11-year-old would say
That was.
I always said yes.
I probably would have said yes if you asked, but I would never have been the one asking.
So they tend to lack a lot of confidence. Allison, obviously, but you are very black and white, the way you think.
Yeah.
If it's right to be friendly, then I'm going to walk up and I'm going to say hello to these people. My daughter Elizabeth is just like that.
I feel like I make things that are gray more black and white, but if they're not.
Yeah, yes, my daughter is like that. And
It's bad.
well, it's a double. Something that has helped me in with your students, you'll notice this. You'll have a front-sided strength and a back-sided weakness. Logan, would you say you're fairly easygoing?
Pretty friendly.
So if you need to be driven, is that hard for you? I mean, okay, I'm more naturally type A driven. Do I have to take a chill pill sometimes? Yeah. I need to be more well-rounded, big picture more often. Okay. People are more important than the project. People are more important than that. Now, did God make a mistake by making you laid back? No, he did not. Does he, in his sovereign plan, give that impetus and that vision? You think of Dr. Jim Tillotson. If he didn't have passion and vision, that'd be difficult for students and for faculty staff to achieve that mission. If he didn't have a good vision of what it ought to be, yeah. So, this is a time of transition. Have you ever moved? You just moved to Faith as students, but have you ever moved homes? Any of you? Once?
Once when I was 5.
Once when you're 5, do you remember?
Not that much.
Not that much. You've never moved? No, that's okay. But you moved to Faith and moved colleges, okay. Logan, you've lived
I was 1.
when you were 1 year old.
On my 3rd birthday, and I vividly remember it because we had my 3rd birthday party, and that was the last thing I remember of our old house.
Oh, so I have moved many times, and I've moved states a few times. Transitions, are they hard times? Good times too. New beginnings, but it's a challenge. And some people struggle with it more than others.
Even coming back to school from being home, and this time especially, but even normally, from Saturday when I get here to Monday afternoon, I'm just sick, my stomach is upset because it's not even I don't want to be here. It's just a transition, and I remember sophomore year coming back, and I was why am I feeling and I finally realized that about myself. I just hate transitions, and it's the same coming back after Christmas break, and it's the same going home at Christmas break, or going home at summer. I just hate transitions. And once I'm where I'm going to be, I'm fine. But the transition period.
All that I'll say about all that you're saying is something that goes not poor. The transition of going from a child to an adult. That whole transition. And some people more smoothly transition than others. And that's true of every part of life. Okay? My daughter Elizabeth, we announced we were moving to Iowa, away from our family, our church, our school. She's like, hooray, a new adventure, a new school, new friends, new church. My other daughter sobbing, tears pouring down. And that's still true to this day. Any new transition for one child is embrace it, bring it, I'm ready. And the other, it's more difficult. Now, Elizabeth is like me in this way. I put compartments, okay? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I close that chapter, I'm opening this chapter. But we need to be very empathetic to people that may not be quite so brave and not as confident. Interest in everything waxes and wanes. Okay, can you kind of see? I'm kind of blocking it.
When you turn like
When I
certain
turn-
ways, I can see other
Okay.
places. So
Look at
What
you
about
turning
right
there.
here?
I'm
Right
sure.
here.
yeah, that's perfect.
Just spinning around.
Just keep spinning around. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry, Marianne. Sorry. Hopefully you could hear some of that. Anywho, I have a daughter who's 14, and I have a daughter who is 11 and a half, going to be 12 in November. I have a pretty good front row seat to all that they deal with. And it is a lot. I just read a book about parenting teenagers from the Rainies. They had 6 kids, so they had a few insights into how to raise teenagers. It is a really great opportunity because they're ripe for learning, but at the same time, very delicate years at the same time. We want to be very patient. So waxing and waning. One day, my daughter Elizabeth, who usually is a pretty stable child, will say, I hate the violin. I don't want to practice. Okay. So I'll just say, that's nice, honey. You still have to do it. I listen to her, but life isn't what you always want to do. Did you want to do the studio brochure this weekend? I guarantee you didn't. I know that you didn't. However, when you get out starting your own business and you already have something pretty much ready to go, you'll hate me now, love me later. We often don't do things that we're not expected to. So, demanding schedule. I really tried this year to put all of my children's lessons into one day. We're going to do everybody's lesson on Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday will be a little bit stressful, but we're going to do it in one so that we can have as many nights at home together as family as possible. Because I know that is it difficult to have a practice routine when you aren't consistently home in a routine? No, it's very difficult. So coping with social demands, social media can be a blessing and a curse, right? I just got the app on Facebook off my phone because during this video I can't deal with that. I just took it out. I just don't have time to manage that platform. Do you think every middle schooler has that wisdom of managing that? No. So they are learning and growing, and some parents do a better job. Physical changes. I had a little boy I started with him when he was about 10, maybe 9. And he started like growing up, and he'd come to lessons smelling like a football player after practice. And I was like, okay, how am I going to be proactive without being mean? I burned a candle. I asked him if he liked the smell of pumpkin. He loved the smell of pumpkin, so I burned a pumpkin candle. Kind of put it rather close to me so that I, not under the piano or anything, but just so I'm not his mom. I'm not going to tell him that he needs to start wearing deodorant. And eventually he'll grow out of that, and then he'll notice. But right now he didn't care, so I needed to find a way that it didn't bother me too much. So, so many different things. Height changes. They might be physically awkward too. If you have a young man that grows, did you grow like 6 inches in a year ever? Or like 3 inches? Yeah. So would you ever did you lose any coordination?
Probably. I don't remember.
Okay, girls put on a pair of good heels. I wore heels on Sunday that were like really big. They're pretty shoes, so took them off right after church. They were cute and required a little skill in walking. I enjoy it. It's ridiculous, but I enjoy it. But it does throw off all of your. So that's something to be mindful of. They're going to be maybe not making as quick or as fluid with progress, just because their body's changing so much. So identity and perceptions. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to share a story because it's funny. I know we're talking like about piano lessons, but I think voice lessons too for guys that age. It's awkward. I know a guy who had like a gorgeous high voice as a kid, and he was like junior high and still like had a high voice and used it, sang in church and like, took voice lessons and really enjoyed it. And he was preparing for TFC. It was like 2 weeks before TFC. He'd been working on his songs and his voice started changing, and he had to change his songs like a week before TFC because his voice.
That is a whole another something to be sensitive about. Just being really, really mindful of all of that. I had a little boy, this brings up a boy that he started like saying, "Do you think that we could ever date?" I said, "I'm married." He was like 14, 13. I said, "I'm married and no, we're never dating." It was so weird. But they're just awkward. Like, I don't know what he was thinking. And it put a whole level of weirdness to the gifts he'd been doing here. I was like, this is weird. And then he asked if we could start dating shortly after Christmas, after he'd given me some nice Christmas things. Anyway, really weird. In those cases, you may need to transfer to a friend. Because if he responded and was cool, then he was fine. I was like, oh, okay, I'll move on. And it's like, okay, they're just weird and quirky. It was the weirdest thing. No. How much older was she than you? A lot. So this is when I was like 22. And I probably looked about 18. So in his mind, we're like 4 years different. No biggie, right? Oh dear. This is identity perceptions. This is from my daughter. Had one of her friends post this. Will someone normal please join band?
Probably not.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, I do believe that normal is just a 7-minute dryer. And I tell my children all the time, often society will try and normalize a lot of things that aren't normal. And we need to be so watchful and careful. But so this is a 14-year-old boy. He's a baseball player. I know him personally from camp. Nice kid. Multi-talented. Great athlete. And I think, do you think there's value in retaining athletes in a music program? I mean, Allison's an athlete. Right? Sarah's an athlete. My husband was an excellent athlete. All-state tennis. He was on a championship hockey team. Very well. He was really good.
Telling Jeff.
Yeah, no, he's excellent. His dad is the Minnesota, his age category champion. I mean, their whole family is like.
Jeff and I are always looking for people who like know how to play tennis.
He really does. Yeah. My husband would love that. He would love that. Because he's played tennis with a few people that really didn't.
Like, it's still fun. You can still teach somebody
Yeah.
else tennis, but sometimes you actually want to go out and like hit.
Play, yes. He can get plenty of that hitting with me, and so he wants to play. So anyway, I think that we want to, as much as we can, shepherd students. You don't have to be all about music and that's your only passion. You can have other passions too, and that's okay. I've met some people that they only will accept you if all you care about is music. And music is important. I'm not saying it isn't. However, we can have varied interests, and they can actually enhance a lot of what athletes do. Musicians should be doing and learning from them. So anyway, be patient and kind. They're in this like awkward. Have you ever watched Bugs Life? Yeah. I love when he's always talking about hip becoming a beautiful butterfly. When he's a chubby caterpillar. Don't try not to see what they are, see what they could be. It's really important. Ephesians 4:32 and be kind. You do not know how impactful those words that you use to build them up. They need a lot of affirmation during that time. As a piano teacher, you can be a big stabilizing. So if you have them from when they're like 7 and you continue them until they're 18, you kind of can help encourage them through that time in their life. Be another positive role model in your life of an anchor that when they're kind of hurting and that you're rooting for them as they go through that really wonderful and awful transition. Because transitions are important, aren't they? They're really important. This is so important. If you can kind of see, pick interesting literature. Okay? This more than any other time. I mean, I would say when you're onboarding a student at the beginning, that's critical. You need to be picking interesting literature. But here, they want to be gratified. If they're playing boring music, their interest is already waxing and waning no matter what. So you need to do everything you can to be like the wind of picking great music. Keep your pulse to their interests. This summer with my middle school student, I need to get permission from her to send you or let you guys watch some videos of her. Her name is Melody. She's a sweet girl. I'm not going to tell you her last name because that's Bertha? Melody's your name. Anyway, she is a lovely girl. She is in 8th grade. And her interest waxes and wanes. She's a perfect example of this whole thing. So I have, for her, we did a recital of all music that she chose. So some of it was not on Lee's, the spinning song, da 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 da. I did give her some parameters of like, I would like, mixed moods, make me happy, make me sad, mixed tempos. And so she followed all the parameters that she picked her own repertoire. And she did a recital just for her parents and grandparents. I did just as much work for just her, all by her lonesome, and she only wanted to invite her parents and grandparents. But you know what? I was cool with that. And she's maybe open to inviting some friends this time. Maybe. It's really hard for them to share music with other people. It's very personal. I'm very sensitive to that. And I know that she'll probably transition out of that, but I want to keep her playing all the meantime. So I try and have present to her, here are some great classics that you might like, that's right on your level you could do. And then I pull out a ton of other books that she can go through. She sight reads and she starts mapping out her program. So anyway, just something I've done with her. I have her doing some duet playing so that she's getting more experience. She also plays percussion in band. So she's a neat girl. You want to pick music that sounds harder than it is. And how do you determine if that's true? You should sight read it as well as pattern. You are all pianists. Are there some patterns that sound amazing but aren't that hard to do? You should have repertoire that you can do that. And things that are mixed moods, they're not little kids anymore. So having something that has a more mature sound, that isn't too epically hard. Do they have a long attention span at this period? No. They are still developing in that way. And do you think that their concentration and interest is peaked at this time or at a real low? A real low. So we want to be mindful of that. Okay. So these are suggested titles from Diane Heidi for the teen students. So I have more too. I just put in this file, it's just all supplementary materials for such a time as a middle school. And that is really helpful when I can sense that she's bored. All right, out comes my, preludes by Dennis Alexander. Dennis Alexander wrote a lot of pieces for the middle school child. He had a son that took his own life, and he composes it kind of from that vein. And you can see like if you ever played his more recent nocturnes, they're really beautiful. You can see that there's a lot of warmth and reflection. So really be careful what you pick in those times. I have all kinds of stuff ready to go. But remember to ask them, are you still really interested in hymns? Should I get like a chorus book, or maybe they're really into something else. For me, it was as silly as Titanic, but I'm thankful my teacher let me do some of those. And I exposed them to the repertoire that I loved when I was their age. So I wanted to play Furries. I'm thankful my teacher wasn't annoyed enough to hear it again. If there's something that you fell in love with piano from, that's great repertoire, make sure you're exposing them, because sometimes they just have never heard and they don't know what to look for. And keep awareness to what you can tell when they've practiced something. And that says a lot about what they like. When you guys come back and I see that you haven't done anything on one piece, I usually mark, I think they don't like this one. Sometimes I can get rid of it. Sometimes it's required for your proficiency or another reason, so I don't. So methods for them. How am I doing? Pretty good. Okay. Some methods to consider. There are lots. These are the ones that kind of I have dabbled in. Okay. I'm not saying one is better or worse than the other. So piano by Alfred, that they combine 1A and 1B into one, is essentially what they do. With some cleverness, could you just move more quickly through 1A and 1B and kind of create a similar experience? Sure. What they do is they get rid of a lot of pictures and that kind of thing. Some people, if you're like Anna's artistic, she really enjoys that. And for me, I just get a little bored of reading pages that are all like that. Just keep me awake, keep me alert, make me smile. Piano Safari, we're having very soon, the 25th, I believe, with the author. One of the authors of Piano Safari is going to tell us about it. So I've heard 50 minutes already of what her method is essentially about. I like some of the things that she's done. The one thing, it is a little more expensive than others. It kind of depends on which route you want to go. I think it's a good method. It's just a little bit more expensive, so it depends on. Then piano for the older beginner. So Faber and Alfred have adult books. They have little kids. They have medium-sized kids, and they also have the older beginners. Usually they say between 10 and 12. Usually if I have a 16-year-old beginner, I go with the adult version because their brain is more adult than it is a 10-year-old's. Okay, so Piano Safari, those are other ones too. Supplementary materials at this age are really, really important. Really, really important. So having just at your fingertips, I put the Nocturnes ones on their popular repertoire. I have a popular repertoire for every one of the favors levels. I have fun hits for every one of the levels. I have a classics for every one of the levels. I have a hymn for every one of the levels. So that I have a ton of things that as soon as I see they're bored, they hate this, all right, let's have you do a student choice piece. I'm going to play you a couple options. You pick which one you think would be the most fun to study. So that is a very fun, important thing to do. So as you think through when you were a middle school student, what was your favorite piece that you played? Can you remember? Or
Middle school is what age you think?
so that's like 6th grade to 8th grade.
Charge that you lines with my dad.
Oh, charge. So that's a ensemble piece.
It was a duet.
Oh,
It's the
so
one that Marianne and I played.
it is big, right? It sounds big. It was with someone else, which is important to middle school kids. It made you sound cool, right? It's just dramatic and fun. So you need to remember that was an important thing for you and rewarding. Anything for you, Anna, at age?
I guess it was, I don't remember specifically. It was around that age I started playing offertories in church.
Okay.
And that was my favorite thing. Like that was really exciting and big for me when I got to do that.
So performance opportunities for you. It's very interesting that you were kind of like shy, but you liked that. It's interesting. So do not put children in the box because you will be surprised.
Yeah, I liked doing that. I was shy but it was like around that age too that I had some friends that were really outgoing that it was kind of like I decided I wanted to be like that and worked really hard
To do that.
like especially 8th grade and 9th grade. That was kind of when I decided I wanted to be more like that, so I tried that more, and I think like it fit my personality to be a little bit more outgoing. I just never was because I was shy. So I don't know, maybe that's why I liked performing. I was just like that. I just wasn't.
Yeah. It was a letting out something that was in, but you hadn't felt courage enough to share it. And it's puzzling with some kids. It's like they'll tell me, I really want to play. And I want to die in these sort of settings, but okay. Surprising. How about you, Sarah? I know you did, was it Mr. Jansma that was big in that time?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Well, not
He is weird. Okay.
the whole process is a little bit weird. So like I like heard when he was like showing me all these different songs, like I should, or all these pieces I should be listening to. I heard Claire de Lune, and so I was like, I can play this, and then we can start learning about things. And so then I learned how to play that piece, and then I didn't really practice.
Because that is not a piece I would start my beginners.
Sarah's like, I want to do it.
That's
I think it was like more like 8th grade is when that one happened.
Sure.
I learned Claire de Lune in 9th grade, and it was like my first big piece of important.
So that's a classical piece that you would want to expose your students to. I think that's universally appealing. Maybe not as much to a guy, but like, but it is, and I think Prelude in G minor is like one that a young man would be like, I'm going to play that, and I'll say, yes, you are. But here's the journey that we need to. This is my destination. We want to be there by 16. Okay, let me help you get there. I promise that if you get on this train track and you just keep tracking, I'll get you there. I promise.
So, like with Rachmaninoff after Debussy, I was like, I need to play that one, the C sharp, when I get the prelude, and like he was like, all right, we got to do this, and I'm like,
But you need to have a vision of what it could be. If they think that I always am going to sound like I'm 5, and that what the piano can sound like, always casting that vision, always casting a vision.
we would listen to that like every 2 weeks or so. He'd like remember, and I'm like, okay, like on his list, what is record player.
Yeah.
What's
I
that
think
word?
we forget that we need to share why do I want you to, as a freshman, start learning to memorize? Well, if we don't start developing this muscle and this skill, is your senior recital going to be more overwhelming? And I was confident that I could do a full recital because I had done several other times of performing my memory. But casting a vision of what could be. And so as many pieces that sound like I've had students that say to me, oh, I want to play the Nocturne. I just heard my friend play by Chopin. I'm not quite there yet. However, Dennis Alexander, I know, just wrote a whole bunch for a middle school kid. And they sound amazing. So those are repertoire. I know I can get them. So like, hey, we'll get you there, I promise. But in the meantime, I've got some really cool nocturnes that sound just like it. But you have to be really keeping your awareness of like, you want to sound amazing. Everyone does. No one wants to stay in book 2 for the rest of their life. That isn't cool music. It isn't. It isn't. But how can I bridge that gap? There's a couple ways. You can do duets that sound really dramatic and like harder than they actually are. Maybe give them a challenge piece. You know, was that probably a big reach for you at that age? I would imagine.
Well, my dad played the high one.
Okay. And you were the bottom part.
I played the bottom part, but it was still
A big. But you were motivated to do it. You wanted it because it sounded so amazing. So make sure your repertoire is motivating. Critical time in their lives. So, with your studio brochure, I'm thinking that we might, just for constancy, have Mr. Freeland take a picture of all of us for the website. I haven't talked to him and discussed that, but I may have it happen. We might even do a yearbook photo. I don't know. We'll see what he thinks. I've asked him to create kind of so I'm excited to see what he's really gifted in graphic design. Really gifted. So anyway, if you see that, still working out some issues with like what are we gonna charge and how is that gonna work? I want to make sure it's all ethically done, that you're getting paid, but at the same time the school isn't losing their shirt.
Should we be communicating that like with them, my parents? Like,
I think what you should do is, as you are taking on students, that you should just let them know that we may have a few policy changes, but we'll keep them informed, and they do not need to worry. Any change will be minuscule. Okay, just make sure that you're communicating with them that there'll be a few policy changes, but it shouldn't impact them greatly. Now, you're teaching privately outside of faith. I don't know. Are you teaching that at Maranatha?
No, in Green.
In Green. So when you go there, so then faith really doesn't need to have their hand in that pie.
Yeah.
So
I'd probably just keep that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not charging them too much.
No. So in that case, I would that one is just an addendum on Allison's part. But if you're going to host your lessons here on Faith Campus, then we are going to shepherd them through. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I've had a few people ask me, can I teach some lessons? And I just told them they can, but they're going to have to go through the classes, and they're going to have to basically be hired so that if we needed to, we could also, so, and that will give Faith, because Faith is kind of giving you an endorsement, and we don't want to give that out liberally. If that makes sense. But if you receive the student and you don't teach them on campus, that doesn't apply to you. But if you do have them coming to Faith, tell them not to worry. We'll keep them informed, and nothing will impact them a great deal. It'll be a minor change for them. Okay? So but I'm just trying to make sure we at least let them know a little bit. Okay, so I should end my time here. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, the next day we'll talk about the